start the show, I do want to introduce Noelle Johnson, who is in the back. She's our stage manager of the show. Acknowledge her as well. And then just another couple of things. So we want to give a trigger warning that there will be a little bit of gun violence in the show. There will be a fake gun that will be seen in one of the scenes, as well as in one of the videos. There will be some yelling if you do have sensitivity to that, just to be aware. And then drug use as well. And then any emergencies, if there are any emergencies, we have an exit here, as well as the other side of the building. This way, there are some exit signs. But in general, thank you all so much for coming out tonight. This would be nothing without you all here, and for everybody that has helped us along the way. So we hope you enjoy the show.
Symphony!
Notes for Berlioz memoir translation, 1969. Chapter 1, First Musical Experience. I was born on the 11th of December, 1803 in La Côte Saint-Andre. I came into this world quite normally, unheralded by any of the portents in use in poetic times to announce the arrival of those destined for glory. However, my first musical experience was as poetic and heavenly as one could imagine. It was only 8. Removing me from secondary school, and I am forever thankful for him introducing me to music and poetry. I was 10 years old.
Hector, tell me the names of the islands.
Which? These are the Sandwich, and these are the Molucca, and these are the Philippines. Papa, if we lived in a port, I would have already run away to become a sailor, whether you and Mama said I could or not.
All right, Hector, my little naval officer, come here and read a little. I know you like better.
Repress the ready tears, and Dido spoke her last. Dear pledges of my love, while heaven so pleased, receive a soul of mortal anguish eased. My fatal course is finished, and I go, a glorious name among the ghosts below. Thrice Dido tried to raise her drooping head, and fainting thrice fell groveling on the bed, and closed her lids at last in endless night.
That will do, my king. I'm tired. to the lines and the spaces. They correspond with notes you can play on the flute.
He writes, in 7 or 8 months I could play pretty well. This early manifestation of my remarkable feeling for wind instruments will not, of course, escape the attention of any self-respecting biographer.
Hector, what have you gotten yourself into now?
I want to compose.
Hector, you have found some talents in the flute. But music and composition are things we do to study the time.
But Papa, I want to compose. I composed a quintet.
I don't want you to compose. Hearing you play is nice, but you cannot take it seriously.
Maybe hearing my quintet will be nice too.
Back to him years later. It is now the theme in A flat, which the first violin announced soon after the opening of the unfinished opera, the Franz.
Nature is urging me towards the Michelangelesque music, Papa. I can feel the orchestra in my head.
I am glad you are passionate about it. It will make you a terrific doctor, like me.
Stop! Stop!
Don't get too dirty, children. The neighbors will be arriving any minute now.
Maxine, stop!
Children, stand still. Hector, I know you are the talented one in the family. Would you like to play something for us? Come, let's dance.
I felt an electric shock. I am in love with you, Estelle. From now on, I will be in a daze and yet weighed down by this immense sadness. Everyone laughs at me as I am broken by a love beyond my years. Estelle, I have something to tell you.
Dear little Hector, is it that you have stolen my boots?
No, it's just that love is so hard to explain.
Especially when the thing you love is a pair of boots.
Well, here, they're yours.
Thank you, woman. It's late now. Time for everyone to go to bed.
Yes. Good night.
At 18, Berlioz was sent to Paris to study medicine.
There. I have set you up with the best teacher of medicine in Paris. You will not disappoint.
Yes, Papa.
Do you have your books? Everything you need? Do not forget to write to your father from Paris.
I won't, Mama.
We are so proud of you. You will make an excellent doctor.
Stop that scribbling. This coats will rot if you continue like that. I won't let you hold me back. Stop whistling. Barry, stop that whistling!
So I went to the opera last night and,
So you can't stop whistling, and when you do, it's to talk about the opera. Christ, man, can't you focus on the dissection for 1 minute?
Clearly you don't understand how moving an opera can be.
Listen, if you don't want to be here, then leave. Hedonistic music will not keep me from my work.
I think... Dear Papa, this letter may come as a shock to you, but I'm compelled to write it. I have decided to quit the medical profession and commit my career to music. This decision was not made lightly. Rather, there is a fierce tugging in my soul that tells me music is what I must do. I have begun studying with a composer at the Conservatoire Library by the name of Mssr. You will shortly receive a letter from him telling you of my talent as a composer. Do not try to sway me. I have made up my mind. I am studying hard in the Conservatoire Library to sharpen my talents and have written a cantata and a few incidental pieces already. Respect my decision, Papa. Hector.
So it is you would come to the library without being a student.
Cherubini, the head of the Paris Conservatoire.
Mssr, I was not aware of the regulation. Another time I will be informed to.
Another time? Another time? What are you doing here?
As you see, Mssr, I'm studying Gluck's scores.
And what are Gluck's scores to you?
Mssr, Gluck's scores are the finest examples of dramatic music that I know, and I need no one's permission to study them. The Conservatoire Library is open to the public from 10 till 3, and I have the right to use it.
The right?
Yes, Mssr.
I will not allow you to return.
I shall return nonetheless.
What? What is your name?
Mssr, perhaps you will have my name one day, but today is not that day.
Librarian, seize him!
Nanci, I fear our parents will not give such a warm welcome.
Why don't you send a doctor to make them happy? Can't you continue using this last time?
Nanci, I thought you had always understood that I feel too much to be kept around the dead and dying for all my waking hours.
Hector, I thought you had always understood that our parents don't want you to live an impoverished life.
Nanci, I must pursue music.
Then, of course, I would support you.
Nanci, please, Wiggins.
Hello, Papa.
Listen. After many sleepless nights, I have made up my mind. I'm going to let you study music in Paris, but for a period only. If after further trial you should fail, then you would justify that and acknowledge that I have done all that I reasonably could for you. You know my opinion of second-rate artists. Second-rate artists are just as bad. It would bring an unbelievably grief upon me to see you among such useless people.
Papa, second-rate doctors are just as numerous as second-rate artists, and not only useless, but positively dangerous.
One thing further. Your mother's view on the subject does not share similar qualities to mine. I insist that you travel to Paris secretly.
Yes, Papa. Thank you. I know this decision was hard for you.
Your father has been so weak as to consent to your returning to Paris. I shall not have this sin to lay to my charge. I absolutely forbid you to go.
Maman!
Yes, I forbid you, and Hector, I implore you not to persist in this madness. Look, I kneel. I, your mother, I clasp your knees and humbly beg you to renounce music.
Maman, for God's sake, let me bring you to your feet. I can't bear.
No, I will kneel. Wretched boy, you refuse? You can stand there unmoved while your own mother kneels before you. Very well, go. Drag yourself through the gutters of Paris, besmirch our name, kill your father and me with shame and sorrow. I shall not step foot in this house again until you have left it. You are my son no longer. I curse you.
Can't mean it, Hector. Not so with you.
I fear she does not see. Only one thing is left for me. I must go.
Despite what our parents have said, Hector, we all still love you. Please call upon me whenever you need.
Chapter 15. When I went to the opera, it was unwise for the performers to change anything in the score, for I knew every note. When I went to a performance of Gluck's Iphigenie Altaire, I noticed that in Orestes' great recitative, that the trombones, which are so superbly appropriate for the dramatic situation, were omitted. If that omission were repeated on the second night I attended the performance, I plan to make myself known. Continues, it wasn't only musical performances that incited my moods. The introduction of the then lovely English actress, Harriet Smithson, who was great at Shakespeare, was also a huge inspiration to me.
Oh, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name. Or, thou wilt not, and be but sworn, my love, that I will no longer be a Capulet. 'Tis but thy name that is my enemy. Or art thyself not a Montague? What's a Montague? Tis nor hand, nor foot, nor arm, nor face, nor any other part belonging to a man. Be some other name. What's in a name? Which we call a rose. Any other name would smell as sweet.
Harriet was 27, Berlioz was 24, and he didn't understand a word of English, but Wright's drama of her portrayal moved me to tears. I knew then that I loved her. I wrote her letters. She told her maids to stop receiving them. Once I managed to perform one of my overtures at a concert in which she was taking place in, but she did not notice me except to warn the other actors of the gentleman of the eyes that bode no good. One afternoon, I got up and mechanically went over to the window. By one of those malignant freaks of fate, I looked across the street and noticed at that precise moment Miss Harriet getting into a carriage, driving off on her way to Amsterdam.
It is difficult to put into words what I suffer. The longing that is tearing my heart out by the roots, the dreadful sense of being alone in an empty universe, the agonies that thrill through my body as if blood were running icicles in my veins, the disgust with living and the impossibility of dying. Shakespeare himself never described such a torture. I've stopped composing. I do nothing. One power is left to me. To suffer.
Berlioz! What are you talking about? Wasn't it just around this time that you met your first wife? She seems like a nuisance to you. Hello, Sam. Can you bring me that stack of letters that Berlioz wrote to his sister? There should be a file in the cabinet. Thank you. Dear Nanci, I must tell you of my Camille. She is an artistic, virtuosic musician. It is almost too much to listen to her at the piano, and to watch her is positively so. Her talent has something miraculous about it, but she doesn't like hearing me praise it. She wants it to play no part in my love for her. In fact,
day, by the torments of love, I put my name down for the Prix de Rome competition. The first prize carries the substantial privileges of fame, money, and a mandatory trip to study in Rome. The competition is open to any Frenchman under the age of 30. Preliminary examinations were given to the most advanced pupils.
Which you didn't pass the first time you went to it. I didn't realize it a big surprise. Come on, just listen to the speakers.
The worthy contested scores written and intended for orchestra were then performed for the judges, reduced to piano. On the day of the prize giving, the cantata chosen by the judges is then performed by an orchestra. By then, the Academy is curious. It would like to hear the work which it has dignified with the prize. A thoroughly natural desire. Ha!
You won after your fourth attempt at the prize. Is that not enough?
The fact that I was a prize winner entitles me to speak my mind fully without fear that people will blame my opinions on my previous losses. Besides, I'd also composed my moving and popular Symphonie Fantastique, which brings me to my performance this evening. This symphony in 5 movements follows a young musician of extraordinary sensibility and overflowing imagination, who, in a paroxysm of despair caused by unhappy love, has poisoned himself with opium. The drug is too feeble to kill him, but it plunges him into a heavy sleep, accompanied by the weirdest visions. His sensations, emotions, and memories as they pass through his diseased brain are transformed into musical images and ideas. The beloved one herself becomes to him a melody, an idée fixe, which haunts him everywhere. This is that theme. This next piece is from the wildly popular 4th movement of that symphony, March to the Scaffold, in which the musician dreams that he has killed his beloved, that he is condemned to death, and led to the execution. A march, now somber and wild, now solemn and brilliant, accompanies the procession. Finally, the idée fixe, like the last thought of love, appears for a moment, to be cut off by the fall of an axe.
Listen for his head falling. Bump, bump, bump. The end.
Berlioz. It was truly an honor to watch.
Well, thank you, Mssr.
Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Franz Liszt.
The Liszt.
I suppose so.
Thank you, Mssr, although you do play an inferior instrument. I will only be at the conservatoire for a few years. They can't keep me from Paris and you forever.
Paris will miss you.
When I return, we will be married.
Chapter 33. Upon entering the academy in Rome, a roar went up loud enough to shatter the windows.
Woo!
Not that many.
Ah, look who's here! The great Berlioz himself. My God, what a head, and you don't even have a chair. That nose, admit it, Julie. Yours has lost face.
A point! But what about your hair? He makes you look bald!
Hey, Berlioz, remember me? The ceremony at the Institute? Those damn drugs of yours didn't come in at the right time? Was he furious? And didn't he have a right to be? Now, don't you remember me?
I remember you well, but your name is it?
I say, listen, he addresses me as vous. We're getting very affected in our old age. Everybody's two here, straight away.
All right, what's your name?
His name, good sir, is Signor.
You mean Rossignol!
That's a fine pun. Rossignor's a fine pun.
Beneath contempt!
Let the poor thing be.
What? The pun?
No, Berlioz.
I say we shall have not puns but punch. Here, Flurry, let's have some. Some of the very best. Something to take away the time.
You idiot! You're hogging all the macaroni. Just a little.
Let the macaroni battle commence. Here comes the punch. Don't bother me with your wine.
No more wine.
Down with the wine!
At least you managed to bear the glasses. You'll need them for the punch. Unless you would rather have punch for small glasses.
Perish the thought!
Good man, Flurry. Well, stop. The whole lot nearly went that time.
That's right.
Chapter 34. Drama. I leave Rome. Florence to Nice. I return to Rome. No debts. He spent some time trying to adjust himself to this unfamiliar existence, but could not take interest in either his surroundings or the circle into which he had suddenly been thrust.
There are no letters for me from Paris?
None as we have received, sir.
I must go back to France. Her silence is giving me extreme anxiety. Something is wrong.
If you leave Italy, you'll be taken off the register of students.
I must at least go to the post office.
It's a letter from Camille's mother.
Destined to bring trouble to her family?
Camille is now engaged to another man?
I must go to France and kill without compunction 2 guilty women and 1 innocent man, as for subsequently killing myself. It is the least I can do.
Good God, what's happened?
Read this. Well, I will still go back to France, but I will go to my father's house, and not to Paris.
Very good, my boy. Return to your family. You need time to rest. It is only then you'll be able to forget us.
Don't worry. Only, I must go at once.
I can go arrange it.
Mssr, it is now midday. I'm leaving by tonight's mail. I need a full lady's maid's outfit, dress hat, green veil, and the rest by 5 o'clock. Can you do it for me? Money is no object. I can pay you whatever you want.
For you?
Yes, for me. Can you do it?
Of course we can.
A young musician of extraordinary sensibility and overflowing imagination, in a paroxysm of despair caused by unhappy love, has poisoned himself with opium. The drug is too feeble to kill him, however, plunges him into a deep sleep, accompanied by the weirdest visions. The beloved one himself becomes a melody. Ide fix, taunts him everywhere he goes. Here is that theme.
Camille, Moke.
I am sure. Let me see the message. Thank you.
Hello, my dear.
The next piece is from the wildly popular fourth movement of that symphony, March to the Scaffold, in which the musician dreams that he has killed his beloved, that he is condemned to death and led to the execution. Listen for his head falling at the end. brief stay in Nice to clear his head. After the allotted years of the academy in Rome, which he endured morosely, he returned to Paris.
Berlioz, how wonderful to see you. How is Rome?
Oh, not half as good as Paris. You're awfully nice.
Well, what can I say? Old age has softened me in the face of your treachery.
Well, I'm glad to be back.
Hector, I bet you're happy to be back.
Elated. What's been happening in Paris lately, Franz?
Well, I think you'll be pleased to hear that Mademoiselle Smithson is back with the English company.
She's returned on tour? The moment I get back and she's here.
Peace, you haven't even seen her yet.
I must. My new concert, my new symphony, Berlioz, the sequel to Symphony Fantastique, is... Everyone knows the subject of these works is my love for Miss Smithson. She must attend.
See what I can do, my dear friend.
A friend of Berlioz offered Harriet Smithson a seat at the theater. She rejected it at first because she was depressed, but her friend urged her to go as a distraction from her troubles.
I don't know about this.
You'll enjoy it.
Who's the composer again?
A friend of mine, Hector Berlioz.
Oh,
You've heard of him.
of course I have. He's a young composer back from Rome.
What a coincidence. You're both in Paris again.
When we were younger, he was everywhere I turned in Paris.
Do you think that was by accident?
I worried because I knew it wasn't.
He's a passionate man.
That's one way of putting it. No, it is he. Poor young man, I expect he has forgotten me by now. At least I hope he has.
Part of Berlioz in the performance, which was clearly a representation of Berlioz, spoke these lines. Oh, if I could only find her, Juliet, the Ophelia whom my heart cries out for. If I could drink deep of the mingled joy and sadness that real love offers us. And one autumn evening on some wild heath with her north wind blowing over it, lie in her arms and sleep. At last, long, sorrowful sleep.
Oh God, Juliet, Ophelia, I must be dreaming. I can no longer doubt it. It is of me he speaks.
Right.
Be still.
From that moment on, so she has often told me, she felt the room reel about her. She heard no more but sat in a dream, with no clear notion of what was going on.
Harriet, this is Hector Berlioz, the composer of the works we heard tonight.
I don't believe we've yet met, Mr. Berlioz.
It is truly a pleasure, mademoiselle.
Your first meeting, Hector. I'm embarrassed for you. You don't have to write a symphony to get a woman to notice you.
For a woman like this, it's the least I can do.
Let's go somewhere. Celebrate the performance. You know, celebrate. Music, drinking, dancing.
That sounds nice.
Why, yes, that does sound nice. I'm so happy you came to the concert. Did you enjoy it?
I did. Not every day to hear a piece of music written about me.
So, you do?
Of course I did. You're all everyone talks about in Paris. He's a young composer with all the, heartache.
Did you enjoy the concert?
I just said I did, Mssr.
Forgive me for saying so, but you seem so depressed. It hurts me to see you this way.
We don't know each other. Shouldn't have to tell you anything. The company I'm a part of is going bankrupt. I don't know yet when I'll return home to England.
Why go back? Stay in Paris.
I don't know.
We've both been away for years, and now we're here together.
We only just met.
Don't you think that means something? As you said, the concert was successful. Paris knows me now. I can take you wherever you want.
I'm tired. Can you take me home?
Of course, mon cher.
Hector, where are you going?
Franz, get help. She's fallen while trying to get into the carriage.
Right by.
Someone's coming to take her to the hospital.
What can I do?
Say,
You organized a benefit concert to support her while she was healed. They married on October 3rd, 1833.
Nothing left in this world but my debts. I fear I will never return to the stage again.
On my side, I have but 300 francs sent to me by a friend. Yet you are mine.
We defy the world.
One of the final lines in the memoir. Love or music? Which power can uplift man to the most sublime heights? It is a large question.
Yet it seems that it can only be answered in this way. While love cannot give an idea of music, music can give an idea of love. But why separate them? They're both wings of the soul.